everyone, how's it going? My name is Ernie. Thanks for clicking on this video. It's going to be all about great albums released in May of 2017. Hope you hear one or two albums that you enjoy. Here we go. So the first album I'm going to be sharing with you is by the band Fazerdaze, and it's called Morningside. It was released May 5th, 2017 through Flying Nun Records, and it's the debut album by the artist from Auckland, New Zealand. The quality of Fazerdaze's self-titled 2014 EP meant that there were high expectations for this debut album, which Amelia Murray, the brain behind Fazerdaze, more than lived up to. Dreamy, fuzzy, reverb, airy vocals are just a few words that can be used to describe the sound on this album. If you're into the shoegaze dream pop movement going on in indie rock right now, this is a must listen for you. The song I'd recommend off of this record is called Misread. The second album I'm sharing is by a band called Daddy Issues, and the name of the record is Deep Dream. The album was released May 17, 2017 on Infinity Cat Recordings, and it's the Nashville-based band's second full-length release following up their 2015 debut, Can We Still Hang? The album consists of grungy rock songs full of energy and rawness that I love. The musicianship is awesome, but what makes this band really special is their straightforward, unapologetic lyrics. The band sings about everyday problems in a relatable way that connects to listeners, and this lyrical quality is put on display on the track that I'd recommend you listen to. It's called In Your Head. Next we have the artist Doug Tuttle and his album, Peace Potato. It was out May 5th, and this one through the label Trouble in Mind. It's the Boston-based musician's third solo LP. Tuttle is the former frontman of the psychedelic rock outfit, Moss, and that affinity for psychedelia is definitely found on his solo work. On Peace Potato, Tuttle mixes those roots with a myriad of genres for a unique listening experience that makes it feel fresh with each listen. This was my first encounter with the musician, and I've had a great time exploring his earlier releases. Hopefully this album can send you on a similar journey. A track I'd recommend is called In Your Light. We're going to move on to the album New Kind of Normal by the band Cayetana, also released May 5th, 2017, this album on Plum Records. It's the sophomore release by the trio from Philly, and on it the band continues to make music with the same attitude seen on their debut Nervous Like Me, which, side note, is definitely worth checking out. They use their pop-punk tunes to address emotional issues and touch on topics as serious as mental health. The album delivers on all the promises their debut made, and then some. If I could only recommend one song off of this record, it'd be the lead single, Bus Ticket. Next we have the one and only Mac DeMarco, who released his album This Old Dog on May 5th, 2017 through the label Captured Tracks. It may not feel like it because he releases so much music in the form of mini albums, demos, and EPs, but it's only the fourth studio album in the Canadian's discography. And Mac's signature glittery reverb guitar tone is all over this record, as well as some great synth work. The musicianship is always as notable, but it's the lyrical content of this album that makes it special. At the heart of the lyrics is the strained relationship between Mac and his father, a subject that has been touched on a bit in the past, but never in this much depth. And anytime an artist puts out something this personal, it's bound to have a disconnect with some listeners, but the honesty and vulnerability expressed by the gap-toothed rocker is something we can all appreciate. If I could only recommend one track, it'd be the one that kicks off the album, and it's called My Old Man. Next we have Land of Talk and their album Life After Youth, released May 19th, 2017 through Saddle Creek Records. It's the Canadian band's third studio album and the first since 2010's Cloak and Cipher. The space between these albums was a result of a bunch of different factors, ranging from tour fatigue, to a crashed hard drive resulting in lost songs, to even her father suffering a stroke in 2013. And the time and experiences led Elizabeth Powell, the driving force behind Land of Talk, to experiment with her sound, songwriting, and approach to music. The result is a more ambient, synth-heavy album than her previous two releases. But rather than lose what made those two first albums special, Powell repackaged them in a way that sounds familiar and completely fresh at the same time. If you could only listen to one song off of the record, check out the first single released. It's called Inner Lover. Next we have the album Soft Spots, released by Adult Mom on May 19, 2017 through Tiny Engines. It's a New York band's sophomore album, and the project began as a solo effort of musician Stephanie Knipe, but has now become a full-fledged band. And despite the addition of other members, Knipe is still the primary creative force behind the band's music and lyrics. And here's the way the band's label describes the album. With this record, Knipe proclaims that everybody has soft spots. Spots that get cared for and tended to that grow and fade, that produce feeling that can linger for years and years. Nipe shares with us their process of learning how to cradle and understand their own softness without finality, a story without an end. This album is full of fun pop rock songs about a variety of life's issues. If I could only tell you to listen to one song, it'd be the song J Station. Next, we have the band The Velveteins and their album Slow Wave, released May 12, 2017 through Fierce Panda and Handwritten Records. It's the debut album by the Canadian rockers, and just so there isn't any confusion, on Spotify their 2016 release, A Hot Second with the Velveteins, is listed as an album, but their website refers to Slow Wave as their debut LP and A Hot Second as an EP, so that's what we're going to roll with for this video. The record is full of garagey, surfy, psychedelic pop rock, and the album is also paced extremely well, making this a really easy and exciting listen. If that sounds up your alley, definitely give it a listen. I'd say start with the track, Don't You Feel Better. On May 12th, the band Girlpool released their album Powerplant through Anti Records. It's the sophomore release for the duo from LA, and the band has taken the sound they created on their earlier efforts and expanded it in the best way possible. The songs sound more fleshed out and complete with the addition of layered guitars and drums on most of the tracks. But the album never lets you forget that Cleo Tucker and Harmony Tividad are the most important part of the music. The mix, even with the addition of all the extra instruments, makes their voices the star of the album. Their vocals work so well together, playing off of one another and harmonizing in ways that prove that these two really know themselves musically and have been making music together for a while. It's a great album with a lot of great tracks, but if I could only recommend one, it would be the ender, Static Somewhere. And the last album I'm going to be sharing with you is a great one. It is Slowdive's self-titled release. Came out May 5th, 2017 on the record label Dead Oceans. It's the UK band's fourth studio album and first since their 1995 LP Pygmalion. With all the time in between records, it makes sense to go into this one a bit hesitant with some concerns about what to expect, but the band has not lost a step. They return with 8 great tracks, sporting their signature shoegaze style. And honestly, perhaps what's most impressive is that in a musical landscape where so many great bands are mimicking the fuzzy, dreamy sound that they helped create, Slowdive is still managing to demand attention based on quality and not name recognition alone. If I could only recommend one track for you, it would be the album opener, Slow Mo. So that was 10 great albums released in May of 2017. Hope you find something you like in there. I have 2 playlists below, one to Vibity, one to Spotify with every song I mentioned, so you can check those out there. If you want to follow me on any social media, I have those links below as well. And as always, if there's anything I missed that I should be listening to, leave it in the comments below. I'll check it out. And again, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.